On the Business Courier front page centerpiece this week, Mayor John Cranley calls it the greatest threat to the city he was elected to run. It is the city's $829 million debt caused by the pension system, and the fix is critical. Cranley's strategy was to get about 4,400 city retirees to file a class action lawsuit. The retirees came to the table, and U.S. District Judge Michael Barrett is expected to approve a settlement by the end of the year. Now, it sounds odd, but the move will save the city at least $300 million in pension payments, $107 million in retiree health care payments, and bring the city retirement system to 100% funding within 30 years, assuming the pension fund achieves a 7.5% annual return rate. The settlement removes a financial crisis that threatened the city's credit rating, reputation, and ability to self-determine its future. Business Courier reporter Chris Wetterick's in-depth story in this week's print edition breaks down the complicated pension issue and resolution. He joins Rob Dahlmeyer in the studio this morning with more on the complicated fix for Cincinnati. Chris and Rob.
Thanks very much, Peg, and thanks for being here, Chris.
Thanks for having me.
Most of us aren't lucky enough to have pensions.
No.
But city employees do have them, and as Peg mentioned, this was a threat to the city. My first question to you is, why was this pension problem such a threat?
Well, the city owed more than $800 million to the Cincinnati retirement system, and like a lot of cities and states across the country, this is a major fiscal problem. This affects your bond rating, which affects how much it costs you to borrow money. It also means, you know, if they had to pay this off the way that it was looking like they would have to, it could have crowded out money for basic city services, police, fire, roads, streetcar operations, just about anything. So they needed to solve this problem in a way that didn't really crush the city's ability to do the things it needs to do every year. And so that's what they've done.
That $800+ million, that's a staggering amount of money. How did we get here? How did Cincinnati's pension plan get so far in the hole?
Well, it really was about three reasons. One was the 2008 crash really impacted the returns they were getting on their pension investments. That was the first thing. The second was the city wasn't putting in what it should have from an actuary's point of view. They should have put in more money at certain times than they did, and so you know that really increased the pension debt to where it ended up.
Now, you put this into context. Cincinnati is by no means alone as cities or states that have this kind of problem, and I know you looked when you were doing the story, you looked around at some other cities that have really some incredible debt. Chicago, to name one city, I can't remember the number, but it was in the billions. Right. What can other cities use this? What Cincinnati has done with this fix? Is this something that's transferable to other places?
You know, the people I talked to said maybe. The one thing that really stands out with Cincinnati is that while it poorly funded the pension fund, it really did well in funding its retiree health care fund. And what Mayor Cranley did to get people to the table, particularly the retirees who weren't taking any cuts as compared to normal employees had up until this point. What he did was say, you know, we don't have to provide retiree health care, and if you don't come to the table, we might get rid of it so that we can afford these pension payments. And so what he was able to do is move a lot of money from the retiree health care fund into the pension fund, and that will really bolster the fund going forward and really allow them to get to this 100% funding level within the next 3 decades.
Well, I think it was a really creative fix. I think we can agree on that, and I'm sure we'll hear more about it later. Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.